Osun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has assured residents that preparations for the February 22 local government elections remain on course, despite a recent Court of Appeal ruling. In a statement on Monday, PDP State Chairman Sunday BC addressed concerns arising from the judgment, which overturned an earlier decision by the Osogbo Federal High Court. The PDP dismissed claims by the opposition All Progressives Congress (APC) that the appellate court's ruling had halted the elections. The party also urged Osun residents to stay calm and resist what it described as attempts by the APC to derail democracy. BC declared, "Nothing has changed. We are fully prepared for the upcoming election. We have activated our legal team to challenge the judgment at the Supreme Court." Meanwhile, the Action People's Party (APP) in the state has reaffirmed that the 2022 Osun local government election remains nullified, unaffected by Monday's Court of Appeal ruling. APP State Chairman Odesola Oluseyi Titus clarified this in a statement on Monday. Odesola dismissed speculation that previously elected officials would be reinstated. The judgment delivered in the case filed by APP against APC and OCEC on 30th November 2022 remains unchanged. There is no court order reinstating any yes or no election candidates, he affirmed. He urged Osun residents to prepare for the February 22 polls. Meanwhile, the Osun State House of Assembly has warned of an alleged plot by the state chapter of the APC to incite violence following the appeal court's judgment. The Assembly Speaker Adewale Egbedu made this revelation in a personally signed statement obtained by newsmen on Monday. In the statement, Egbedu said, "We call on the Inspector General of Police to ensure professionalism and neutrality in securing Osun State." The Assembly also alleged that former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola was leveraging his federal position as Minister of Marine and Blue Economy to influence security agencies. Well, this is coming as regards the February 22 local government election that is around the corner, where the PDP in Osun State are reassuring the local government elections that they will be on track despite a court of appeal ruling that overturned an earlier decision. Well, quickly, Comrade Kingsley, what would you make of this story?
You see, there is one disturbing thing here. When a competent court of jurisdiction makes a pronouncement or a judgment rather, and then you want to take it upon yourself to do otherwise. The question is, what are you trying to get at the end of the day?
Okay.
Because it's still the same after election, litigations will come up here and there, and then you've spent, people's fund, public money, try to waste people's time and all of those things. So if the court has said, don't go into this election, okay, you just make sure you do the needful or you do the right thing. If it's a case you're still going to go and appeal, you do. If it's a case you still need the court to properly guide on what next step to take, you do so. You don't just on your own, say, okay, I'm going to go further by conducting an election just because maybe you feel somehow the case is not to your advantage. And for crying out loud, must the case go to your own advantage? Must it be a win-win for you all the time? No, it shouldn't be so. You understand? So if the court has said, hold on, that is the recent judgment, isn't it? So why not just, if it's a case you want to appeal, why not appeal it? Why not go further to say, okay, what do we do? What's the next step? Because at the end of the day, if you go into the election, it still comes back to the same, hollow chamber. And then you've wasted time, wasted energy, wasted money, and then it looks as if it's a jamboree thing. For me, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be at all. Politicians should learn how to obey the courts, and not to take laws into their hands because you are in government, or rather you're in charge of the state. No, you shouldn't do so. If it didn't go down well with you, that didn't mean you now do things according to how it should please you. It shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so at all. We all say the court is the last hope of the common man. Okay? and you know, whether we say it is in the custody of the hallowed chamber, you know, in terms of the law or not, you that is a governor or perhaps you're in leadership position, I don't see you trying to, you know, make these things look childish. Because if you're putting up in that light, what are you trying to tell others? So when they come into governance too, they should look at it and refer, because sometimes you refer to cases that they've judged and say, okay, according to this, as it was judged in this person's case, are you telling those people coming up to toe the same path?
Well, right now, tensions are high with allegations of potential violence instigated by the APC and also prompting calls for police neutrality from what we've just read. But then the question is, how will these legal back and forth affect the credibility of the upcoming local government elections in Osun State?
Of course, if you are not going to obey court order, you've already told people that whatever you're doing is not legal. Do you understand this?
Okay.
If you've just decided to disobey court order, like I said, you're opening room for a lot of things to really happen in this election. And you're not calling in police to come into this matter. And when they come in now, you hear these politicians again, when it didn't go their way again, they will tell you, police is taking side. Police is taking side. Sometimes I feel for these police people, you know, because it's like they are being tossed here and there. So for me, you don't even create the impression of not being, you know, peaceful, or rather not being legal about the whole thing. Because once you create that impression, it means you've sown a seed of illegality, and whatever you're doing, you're resting on that, you know, platform of illegality. So people will have to go to court again. So you bring everything you've done to shambles.
All right. Well, let's also look at what the implications of these court's decisions on political stability in Osun State will be like. What do you think?
Well, Osun people should take that task. Okay, they should decide that for themselves.
Okay.
You know, so no matter what we sit here and say, Osun people should really speak for themselves. That's what I was saying.
Okay, so how might the APC and PDP strategies, you know, change in light of this legal battle and legal uncertainty?
Of course, they say when two elephants are fighting, the grass has to suffer it.
Right.
It's an open door for the government that is not in power to actually seize the opportunity to grab power.
Okay.
It's also some sort of way of the incumbent to remain in power, because what we are talking about here is trying to do away with the local government council chairman and the councillors who are of the APC party, true or false. And then you have the governorship, the governor there as the PDP person. So what is happening is that the governor wants his PDP people to be, you know, on board. And then the APC too wants their own people to be on board. So it's a matter of, you know, a kind of battle that is going on now. And so when you decide to disobey the court now, you're creating a loophole for the APC to actually take over. That's just what you're trying to do. So it's going to be a good pay for APC, you know, but it's going to be a bad pay for PDP if PDP, you know, decide not to obey court rules.
Well, so what steps should be taken by the state to ensure that there is a peaceful election process?
I have said before, it's in the hands of Osun State people. It is for them to look at these political bigwigs or political parties and say, no, we don't want this.
Okay.
We don't want any problem in this state. You know, in the course of that, I read through, and somebody said it shouldn't be like the political challenges or problem in Rivers State. You know, so they are seeing what is happening in Rivers State and they don't want such thing to happen there. So the people should stand up and say, no, we don't want this to happen. Let the right thing be done.
Okay, so you've mentioned similar, you know, experience that happened in River State, and then there were some people, like you said, would not want that to actually happen to them. But what role do you think the judiciary needs to play in resolving such political disputes? Because, like you've rightly mentioned, we've seen this happens in River State here, and it appears that is exactly what is going to take place in Osun State, but we do not pray for that. But in the case of this, what do you think is the role, or should be the role, that judiciary will have to play in order to resolve these political disputes that we keep hearing every day and day?
I want to say this. The judiciary has not actually helped all of these things in a very cordial way.
Okay.
What do I mean by this? Sometimes you just have to understand that we are not all lawyers. Okay, even though we have a lot of media lawyers and judges,
Right.
but the judiciary should know that we are not all lawyers. So when you're giving this judgment, let it be in such a way that everybody understands it very well, so you don't have to, because I want to also believe that PDP saying that we must go ahead with the election, perhaps it's because of the way they understood it. That means that the understanding of whether we should hold this election or not is not really clear. So the judiciary will have to, you know, make their terms and their judgments very clear, so that the layman should also understand it, because they are not witch hunting anybody in any case. It's trying to resolve an issue. So don't try to create an ambiguous problem by using an ambiguous terms that people cannot understand. You know, like somebody will say, somebody went to the eatery and say, please give me issue. And the people cooking say, we don't have issue. Okay, what do you have? We say, we have a good head. You understand what I'm saying now? So it's just the same thing. So, but you just use the language that is not understood, you know, by this person who is selling. So let us make this simple for people to understand. That's what the judiciary should actually be doing here now.